Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Political Command Center in Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya in East Africa, the Great Lakes region. This is Dr. David Matanga with Punchline Africa Television, the only television online for the last 7 years, the pioneer of online television. Today, broadcasting to you live, the television that defends Pan-Africanism, the television that talks facts, the television that delivers the truth, the television that works on the Fourth Estate mandate. Good afternoon, viewers across the globe, across East Africa, Africa, and the entire world, in Europe, in Ukraine, in Russia, in China, in South America. Good evening or good morning. In the United States of America, good morning. Those waking up, we are already up. We've gone. Africa has always been up. The only problem is that we don't know we are always ahead of time. That's why the sun comes here first, and then it goes somewhere else. This is our continent. This afternoon, Africa Showdown is the showdown for the people of Africa to discuss first Kenyan news, what is happening in East Africa, in Kenya in particular. And then we look at Africa. Then we look at the globe. The topics lay as they are today, this afternoon. 1, Africa. 2, Kenya first. Africa 2, the world 3rd. That's the order. So wherever you are, if you want to join us, join us. Go to our Zoom. The platform is ready for you. 399-535-8320. Enter. And the postcode, the code, entry code is 503-670. You'll reach us, talk to us, engage us, Africa. Good afternoon in Nigeria, Biafra, in Cameroon, the conflicts of Africa that have been forgotten. But you find the Africans talking resolutions about Ukraine. Jesus Christ. This continent has more difficulties. Hallelujah. This continent, God help us. In Libya, it's cut to pieces. Central African Republic, they have been killing each other for the last 20 years. Nigeria, Biafra, and Nigeria have been killing each other. The Biafrans wanted an independence. The Biafran wants Nigeria rearranged. Are we no more? Amazonia, Resolution 1608 of 1961. It gave the mandate for the creation of Amazonia. Amazonians have been crying, running, women dying in the tropics of Cameroon. And here we are telling people we are putting resolutions in Africa. Which one? Tell me. This is the best, where you can hear the truth. Back in Kenya. Good afternoon, all of us. Good afternoon, Kenya. A volcano erupted yesterday. The other one was an earthquake that was not worth it. A volcano yesterday of unit of purpose. A unit of purpose where the groups, surely if you are to defeat this type of group, you must be genius. Good afternoon, all of you. Wherever you are, I wanted to know how you are. I wanted to have the news headlines. I thought I had newspapers, but it looks like I would bring someone across the bridge to bring us news headlines. Is that so? So let me introduce my panel this afternoon. Across somewhere in the CBD of Nairobi is none other than Miriam Ogutu. Today, good afternoon, I'm taking the seat. You are taking the other one. Good afternoon, Miriam Ogutu.
Indeed, Doc, a very good afternoon to you. Good afternoon and good morning, good evening to all our viewers, depending on where they are tuned in today.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And across in Eldoret, miles and miles away, we have none other than Sean Wesonga, our investigative journalist, who is on the road surveying the Western Cape, the Western country of Kenya. How Azimio, how people received Azimio across in West. This is a moment I've been waiting for in Kenya to plant the seed of redemption. Matanga redemption. I am the most happiest man since last night, but I will show you how happy I am. Good afternoon, Daniel Sean Wesonga.
I don't think we have him yet.
We don't have your Wesonga. Let's go.
I think he's still trying to connect, yes.
In Nyeri, across in Nyeri, or Kirinyaga, wherever we are, we have none other than Samuel Wariegi. Samuel, good afternoon.
We seem to have lost him still, Doc, but I think he's still trying to connect back. He was there, but the connection wasn't as good, so we lost him, but I think he's connecting back. So once he's here, he will join us.
Okay, thank you very much, viewers. I cross over to Miriam to give us the newspaper headlines. I think you have them there. I don't have. Thank you.
Okay. All right, and on the newspapers this afternoon, the Sunday Standard, the main headline, Raila takes baton as 24 parties endorse Azimio leader to run for president. Kalonzo steps down after 6 hours of talks. Uhuru describes Odinga as able and willing captain, and former Prime Minister pledges to honor election agreement. Endorsement comes 4 years and 4 days after historic handshake. You find the story covered in numerous pages on the Standard newspaper. And then UDA clears Ruto to be its flag bearer. That is on page 10. We turn our attention to the Sunday Nation. The main headline, Raila roadmap to State House. The Raila Kalonzo ticket fell just short of clinching the presidency in 2013 and 2017 when President Kenyatta was the rival. Uhuru is now backing the duo and has promised to deliver the Mount Kenya vote to Azimio. The race just got tighter for Ruto. The details on page 17 to 19 on the Sunday Nation. Zambia's fourth president succumbs to cancer at 85. Rupia Banda dies in capital Lusaka 2 years after being diagnosed with colon cancer, for which he underwent a chemotherapy treatment. The story is on page 32. Mercy Line, why rogue police will not silence me. You'll find that there. And of course, the main pictorial is that picture from the Azimio campaigns yesterday. And Ruto takes first step in race for president with UDA ticket clearance. That will be on page 4 on the Sunday Nation. So that is what we have on the front pages of the leading newspapers here in the country. Doc, back to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Let's hold on with the Sunday Nation. Raila roadmap to State House. Miriam, what intrigued you most? What made you happy yesterday, wherever you are, and understand you are down in Siaya, in the rural area? What were the aspirations? How people were inspired? How people were glued on their television sets in the villages to see, for the first time, something strange has happened in Kenya. The unity of purpose, the growth of a redemption strategy is what inspired me. I don't know what inspired you. Go ahead.
All right. And perhaps I'll just speak on what I saw yesterday. As you're right, I was somewhere in the village there for a few hours, and then while they were moving to go to Jacaranda, I was heading my way back here in Nairobi. And so they seemed to be excited. And what I saw was a disbelief, but in a good way, because they never thought in their lives they will see a union between two vicious rivals like you've seen in the Kenyan politics, like it were in the last election. So to see President Kenyatta come out and endorse, Raila, and, the confidence that he spoke, feeling that this will be the right person to take this country to the next level and take after him. And that is something that perhaps they never expected would happen. So it was a pleasant kind of disbelief, but, surprise that this was happening. And of course, the majority of them were jubilated. And from what I heard, there was somebody who was working, doing some things where I was. And he was saying from the other side, from the Luya land, and he was saying, you know what, even in the other side, Azimio is the way to go. Azimio is the song that people are singing. So even as much as there's some few leaders from, the part of Luya land that are still, rooting and supporting Ruto, but they will have a very hard time trying to convince the people from there, because they're saying Azimio is what people are looking forward to vote for in the coming election in the presidential ticket. Of course, when it comes to the MPs and the MCAs, that could be a different, a ball game in regards to the parties. But we know that Azimio is what is being felt, and is what might take the day from, the people that I spoke to yesterday. So I think this was very interesting. And I think the most interesting part that I saw was, Kalonzo Musyoka, and we have to commend him for this, because we know even until Friday, after signing the coalition deal in One Kenya lands with other, parties, from what we heard from that press conference was perhaps there's a possibility that he could still run for the presidency. For him to forsake and abandon his dream and wish, that is something that has to be commended. And I think this is not the time to chest thump and to, tell him, maybe we knew you were going to come this way. Of course, we could see, but he was determined to go up to at the very end of these elections, and for him to forsake that and decide to support Raila, I think that is something that has to be commended. That is something that takes a person who is a leader to compromise and to forsake your own ambitions to support somebody else instead. That is something that does not take a coward to do. So we have to commend Kalonzo Musyoka and, of course, other leaders from other parties that have now come to support Raila Odinga's presidency in the Azimio, coalition ticket.
Thank you very much, Miriam. One factor that comes out of yesterday's meeting is the clear way, the clear vision, the right direction, the unity of purpose. That you can feel that Kenyans and the leaders are more worried about a nation called Kenya. They want to find out where it goes from here. It looks like there is that sense of, where do we drop our nation? If Kenyatta leaves, what happens to our nation? So that sense came to me, and I think it came to other people across Kenya. Now, the biggest problem that we have is, and I want to join you to thank Kalonzo, very rarely do people in Africa, I don't think Ruto would surrender his position for anybody. You can see even across in their own party, in UDA, they brought a younger lady whom they knew had no papers. Ruto continues to do a PR, a fake. You see, the point that we have here is that Ruto is fake. He's a fake man. But the only people is that a few Kenyans, malcontents of Kenyans supporters like Tanga guys, don't know that Ruto is fake. For me, Dr. Matsanga, I know Ruto is fake. And once Ruto gets this country, we are fake. We shall call Kenya a fake country. Because everything that will be done in Kenya will be fake. Look at what they did. He went and brought 2 men. That's a PR. You know very well that girl. No, you know the Constitution very well, Miriam. The Constitution says if you are not above 35 years. Now, why did Maina, the Secretary General, who is also a criminal, she's alleged criminal, a thief who stole money corruptly and ran to UDA, she's now bringing, we must tell these people now the truth. The worst mistake that the media in Kenya is doing is not to tell the truth, while crooks, fake people, they fake photographs that Ruto was meeting in White House. There is photographs that was Ruto's motorcade. Miriam, they fake everything, which they did not do in London, because in London they could have been arrested. If they wrote a statement there that they had seen Boris, yet they didn't see Boris, they could have been arrested. So a country handing over power to a fake man who does PR, you bring a girl of 23 years, Tracy Wanjiru is 23 years. How do you, then you are just fooling your supporters of your party to say 23 years, come and apply for presidency. The Constitution of Republic of Kenya says you must be above 35 years. Isn't it so? To become the president of Kenya.
Yes, that is what the Constitution says. And Doc, I'll join you in that. That was law even for UDA as a party. We all know what the Constitution says. And of course, the people who came there, one did not meet the age requirement, and the other one did not have the money that he was supposed to have to submit himself. So, and then after that, when he held a press conference in the presence of these UDA officials and saying, oh, UDA is a very fair party, the fact that they could allow me to come and offer myself for the nomination, I thought, how ridiculous is this? I mean, if you're going to stage up some things, at least do a good job at staging up. That was really ridiculous and low even for UDA itself. Look for formidable people who could actually be a challenge to offering themselves out for that post.
Yes. Thank you very much. For me, I saw that, and I want to commend Dr. Stephen Kalonzo for the courage you had yesterday. I want also to thank President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And perhaps, Miriam, there is quite a lot of advice coming from so many people called me, sent messages, over 150 messages about Kalonzo. Maybe was he talked to by my president across the bridge? We are told that President Museveni was very candid because he's a friend of Gideon Moi. He knew Gideon Moi before he knew this other thief. Career thief, deep career. It is very bad for your children to hear you're a career thief. Instead of saying you're a career diplomat, and you are called career thief, a man who steals everything, who even wants to steal a certificate in your own party that you have formed, and you create a fake vision that bring Tracy Wanjiru and bring another professor from Kisii University lecturer who cannot afford 1 million shillings to show that you don't have the money, when you have sent Oscar Sudi in Dubai to intercept the money and load it on a plane to come to Kenya. Do we really have morals, Miriam? Are we left with any morals? Wasn't BBI the only thing that could save Kenya? I am asking a cardinal question. I'm not a Kenyan. I am Paul, a Gentile preaching to the Jews, Miriam. Miriam?
Yes, Doc. And before we continue, I think Javan Karanja is also there.
Okay, let's bring in Javan Karanja. I am a Gentile preaching to the Jews, Javan Karanja. Good afternoon, welcome. How is Nanyuki?
Good afternoon, Dr. David Matsanga. Good afternoon to Miriam and the rest of the team. It's always a pleasure being on Punchline Africa Television. And here in Nanyuki, the mood is good. After yesterday, moved by Kalonzo Musyoka to support the Azimio coalition. And we are guaranteed that Azimio will have a landslide victory in 2022 August polls. I think that is where I found yourselves and Miriam discussing the matter. And I was so pleased because we need in our team, especially in Azimio, We needed that outlook of a national team. And when you look around in the eastern part, we did have that figure who represented those people. And Kalonzo joining the team of Azimio gives it a national look. Because when you go to central Kenya, we have President Uhuru Kenyatta. When you go to Nyanza, we have Raila Amolo Odinga, who also enjoys a good support in Western Province. Therefore, Azimio looks and there is a national outlook, and that is very important for the perception of a part of politics. And for sure, this was great. And I join you in thanking the former Vice President, Kalonzo Musyoka, for being selfless and for supporting Raila Amolo Odinga for that time. That is not easy. We know it was other politicians that could not have happened, but because he knows that we need this country to move to the next level, we must unite or perish together. And therefore, it is good that we are united for a better country. We are united to take this country and to foster an economic revamption kind of an agenda, as Raila Odinga emphasized yesterday. Therefore, that is very, very important. And on the issue of William Ruto and the UDA party nominating him as a preferred presidential candidate, that was just a mere public PR exercise, because one, the candidates who were competing with William Ruto didn't meet, leave alone the UDA constitutional requirement. They didn't have the constitutional requirement as granted by Constitution of Kenya 2010. One was a young lady below the age of 35 years. Therefore, constitutionally, you can't run for president when you are below 35 years. The other man was bankrupt, and that was just an exercise to show that UDA has democracy. They're just trying to cover what is already in public domain, because we have seen aspirants decamping from UDA party, joining Jubilee party, joining other Azimio affiliated parties in the name of suffocated democracy in UDA party. Therefore, William Ruto, the party leader, can't claim that he is the only one who enjoys democracy, but other aspirants are running away in fear of poor and poor party primaries. Therefore, that was just a public stunt that William Ruto does best. That is what he has been doing for the last 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Governor Karanja, before you go,
Yes.
there is the question which I want us to understand, and especially the people of Nanyuki to understand, and the mountain. Kalonzo has not said he is a running mate of presidential candidate Raila Odinga. Are people understanding that in the mountain?
Yeah, there's that confusion because people feel like now Kalonzo, being the most experienced politician after Raila Amolo Odinga in Azimio, because the person who is the most experienced politician from Mount Kenya region and who has the say is President Uhuru Kenyatta. And we know he can't deputize Raila Amolo Odinga. Therefore, there is that uncertainty that maybe Kalonzo Musyoka joining Azimio might be the automatic running mate. And I think that is not the case. I think Kalonzo Musyoka was very categorical that he is not in for the deputy president position, but he is in for any other position that will be given by Raila Amolo Odinga. Therefore, he has given that latitude, he has given that grace to Raila Amolo Odinga to choose for him which position is best suited for his stature as a politician and as the man he is. But we need, as we move on, because Raila Amolo Odinga can't risk losing the gains that he have gained in Mount Kenya region. If I was the one who was advising the bond of the campaign.
No, you are entitled to the opinion here. You remember you are talking to millions of people who will pick this clip and who are watching you now. Yes, what's your opinion? Say it. Don't say if you are the one. You are already one of those. You are one of the youth wingers in Nanyuki. So tell me, my dear brother in Nanyuki, what is your view of Kalonzo not Kalonzo saying, he said, I am here to look for all votes for Raila across the country. Kalonzo did not say, I am here to become the deputy president or the running mate. So the people in the mountain should not also equally panic. They should wait. Because if, can I break the camel for you?
Yeah.
Can I break the camel for you?
Go on.
Yes, let me break it for you. There is anybody who has done political science in any international well-recognized university like David Matsanga. I didn't do it in these small places of Ruto, where Ruto says he's an academic in plant botany when he cannot even grow one plant. The whole of choosing the strategy of Azimio in choosing the flag bearer depends on BBI. Do you see that? Depends on the outcome of the Supreme Court decision. Am I wrong?
You are very right, Dr.
Can't you see where the strategy is heading? Anybody who is foolish, maybe malcontents like Ruto's Tanga malcontents, they don't see it. There's a vision. There are men with vision on this side. We shall see what is good, what comes out of the ruling. The ruling of there is nobody who should lie anybody in this world that there is a constitution with a basic structure. No. No. I went further and dug down and found there is nothing like a basic structure in a constitution. That's why Britain did not put up a constitution. Have you now seen my wording, Mr. Karanja and Miriam? There is nowhere you can have a basic structure in a constitution. There is no article that is a basic structure. No. All articles of the constitution are the same. There is none which is superior than the other. Then there should be no constitution. Are you with me, Karanja?
Yeah, we are together.
If you tell me that Article 6 is superior, or Article this is superior, then why do you have a constitution? Why should others be inferior? So there is no basic structure. Believe me or not, the Supreme Court will return the verdict in favor of the group that said there is nothing that stops a person from tackling a basic structure. Now I have given you a clue.
If that is the case, Dr. David Masanga, and I hope time will vindicate you as it has done.
I am a graph. Well, Karanja, don't forget I'm a graph. I've seen before. I started, Karanja and Miriam, I did political science. It is in my blood. I am not just a simple political spokesman. I am a spin doctor of political science. I have the subject of political science added with the subject of conflict resolution, management, mediation. I am telling you, the Azimio choice of who should be the candidate should not worry Mount Kenya. Who should be the running mate? Should not worry Munya. Should not worry Peter Kenneth. Should not worry Kiraitu. Should not worry anybody. Just go do the campaign in Mount Kenya. The strategist of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and others, the road is very clear. Kalonzo has not come with a condition. Gideon Moya has not come with a condition. Those who had conditions did not turn up. Martha Karua had conditions and could not turn up. You know why she cannot turn up? I am the only human being who knows why she cannot turn up. Yes, and if she goes on talking the way she's talking, I will reveal to Kenyans. I know something which she did. Yes. Let her leave the Uhuru family alone. Kenyatta family have suffered. And some of us who are friends, I don't get paid for talking. No, I don't ask Uhuru Kenyatta to give me money to talk. No, I talk with my brain. And I want to tell you frankly here today that there's something anybody who has studied political science can tell. It's very clear. And this is what is going to help that Ruto. You know, if the Supreme Court comes up with a ruling that there's nothing that stops anybody to touch a basic structure, Ruto will be helped in the choice of candidate. Now, why was he refusing the BBI? Have you seen where we are heading, Miriam and Karanja? Karanja first.
Yes, thank you very much. And as I was laying my point on the issue of running mate quagmire, that is not only a problem in Azimio camp, but as well as on Deputy President camp. I think the only solution, and I have reiterated on this on several occasions, BBI is the only complex solution to all these problems. Because with BBI, the Mount Kenya people will not be worried whether they will be given the running mate position, but they will be assured if they don't get the running mate position, they might get the prime minister. Therefore, the equation will be quite balanced. But as it is now, the people in Mount Kenya region are hoping that Raila Amolo Odinga will take our son, maybe a daughter from the mountain, to be his running mate. And that is something that is coming out well. When you look at the Azimio, you'll see the main political parties are ODM and Jubilee Party. Therefore, at the end of the day, ODM has already produced the presidential candidate. Therefore, in the most likely event, Jubilee will produce the running mate. Maybe Wiper will get the prime minister or the deputy prime minister and the speakers of both national, the Senate and the National Assembly. Therefore, there is quite to be divided among these key political players, but that will come to play in quite a good way if we have the BBI on board. But on the same issue, the people of Mount Kenya region, I can say and I can report without fear of contradiction, but they have embraced President Uhuru Kenyatta's stand to support Raila Amolo Odinga. They feel that is the right direction, and things will change. And as we head to June, July, August, you'll see Mount Kenya region singing and going maybe 50-50 between William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga, and that is what we wish. But on the other side, I don't think William Ruto will risk selling a Kikuyu Kalenjin a ticket this time round. Maybe he'll go for Mudavadi, but in our side, Ruo, Kikuyu, that kind of arithmetic, it has a kind of a national outlook. But if we continue with the old one of Kikuyu Kalenjin, I think that people will resist, not only in the people from Mount Kenya region, but other parts of the country. Therefore, Azimio, as it is, a lot favors us. Thank you.
Miriam, your comment on that before we move to another subject, and I want you to listen to this one when we move there. Yes?
All right, Doc, thank you so much. I think with all factors remaining constant, I would rather, my preference will be for perhaps a Raila Kalonzo Musyoka ticket, and that is because Mount Kenya region, rather the central Kenya region, with President Uhuru Kenyatta seeming to be the chaperone of this coalition, they have nothing to worry about. Remember, in politics and how our politics are right now, Kenyans vote because they know their interests are being represented on the national table. And with President Uhuru Kenyatta being the chaperone of this coalition, the interest of the people of Central is already being represented on the table. So it does not matter whether the vice president the deputy president comes from the Central Kenya or not. But I think bringing in Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka as the deputy president will be a fresh air because we've had Kalenjin Kikuyu for a while now. So I think it's just a different pattern from a different community. I think this will be a good break from what we've had before. And Mount Kenya, people have nothing to worry about because with President Uhuru Kenyatta being there, being the chaperone of this coalition, their interests will be taken care of. But also this will, with Kalonzo being the vice president, and from the stories I'm leading today, yesterday's function at the KICC was supposed to take place at 9 a.m. in the morning. And Kalonzo, I think, from the story I'm reading from the Daily Nation, was saying, hey, he wanted to be assured of the deputy president's position. And I think he deserves that. He deserves that. He has earned his place in the Kenyan politics. He has proved that he has the numbers also to back that up. Seeing that now he'll bring that, from the eastern part of the country. So he has earned his place. He has earned the position of the deputy president, and seeing how much he had to swallow to even be humble enough and to throw his his ambition and support Raila, I think he deserves that, and that will help in Raila even getting more numbers, from the Kamba region. But on top of that, I think he's a person who also has a national outlook. You just don't look at Kalonzo Musyoka as a Kamba leader. We look at him as a national leader. So I think he's the best bargain when it comes to the deputy presidency under Raila Odinga's, flag bearer there in the Azimio Umoja coalition. So I think for me, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka will be the best bet, with all factors remaining constant. And Doc, you brought about the issue of Martha Karua not showing up yesterday. And I think from what we've been seeing, could it be that she was the person who was still holding, the One Kenya Alliance back from having a coalition, a deal with the Azimio? Because you've seen there's been a back and forth, and sometimes when Kalonzo was coming out to speak, you'd think, okay, fine, now he seems as though he wants to go this way, and then the next day he's calling a press conference and he seems to be speaking a totally different thing. So could it be because maybe Martha Karua had something to do with that, and the influence that she was bringing and the things that she wanted, or what was it? But from yesterday, her failing to be there, maybe she could be the reason why there was a delay. Remember, what is happening yesterday was supposed to have happened like a week ago, but there was a delay, and maybe could be she was the person who was unwilling to yield and compromise on some of these things. But, she has not spoken, so we really don't know if that is for sure. But her not showing up, I think, made a bigger statement of perhaps her thoughts, her position, and what she thinks, and perhaps the decision she'll have to make moving forward in her, political life, moving forward in the country.
Miriam, there is one thing that we have to understand. And this thing, we can understand it from this point of view. That Moses Kuria was a link brought in Oka to find out what Oka wants to do, where they want to go, how they want to go. Now, you know very well the original Oka members are Kalonzo, Mudavadi, Wetangula, Gideon Moi, and Jirongo. Martha Karua came, by the way. He has no powers in Oka to make Oka stick to him. You remember at one point, the deputy, the Speaker of National Assembly, Muturi, also became part and parcel of the Oka proceedings, then jumped out. You also remember Kinjuri decided to go back and not to join any of this. And you remember Kabogo came in Oka also actively, then we withdrew. What was making them? What was making everybody? What was making everybody withdraw from Oka? Right from Viewers, as you see, right from Kabogo, Moses Kuria, Martha Karua, the Speaker of National Assembly, they all withdrew from Oka. And then the rest of the people managed. Only 3 remained in Oka as the main people. As the main people who were actually focusing on delivery of Oka as a coalition. Now, what happened yesterday is something that we must be careful about, Miriam. What happened yesterday is the late Archbishop of Cape Town, Desmond Tutu, said, the worst thing in your life is to be silent and stand on the fence when there is a problem. Then you have stood with the oppressor. You don't call yourself, Miriam, you don't call yourself. You are very good. You are a very good activist for so many years. You are non-corruptible. You resigned from Kibaki's government. And therefore you are very well known. You just call yourself George Soros' daughter. Why don't you just call yourself George Soros' daughter? And say, I'm not coming there, because your money will not be paid. Your mortgage or your house rates will not be paid. There's nothing that Martha Karua will lose the gubernatorial seat of Kirinyaga. She's going to lose. Javani Karanja, am I wrong? If got Javani, I don't know. Yes.
You're very right. You're very right, Dr. David Masanga. You know, here in the mountain, our people love following people who have a stand. And if you look around, the people, the likes of Moses Kuria, the likes of Kionjuri, the likes of Mother Karua, Kabogo, they have lost their relevance. When you look at their political support in Mount Kenya region, it is diminishing day and night because they don't have a stand. When you look at people like Kanini Kega, the likes of Mojiri Wambugu, who have stood with President Uhuru Kenyatta, their political ratings are increasing with the time because people love that consistency. Whether you are in opposition, whether you're in government, what you stand for, that is what matters mostly for the people of Mount Kenya region. And that is why you find people like Mother Karua and Kinjuri, if they don't revamp, if they don't go back in the drawing board and do some strategy and rebranding, they will be forgotten in Mount Kenyan politics. And the newcomers, people like Peter Munya, the likes of Kanini Kega and others, they are coming up very well. And when you look at even people like Peter Kenneth, sometimes they look confused because they don't have a stand. They don't have that strong, firm stand. And I think that's an attribute that the people of Mount Kenya region really loves and looks in their leaders. Therefore, Mother Karua, as it stands, she is losing ground day and night. And when you go around and look at the work being done by Kirinyaga Women Rep, Wangoi Ngirishi, you'll see it will be a two-horse race between Waiguru and Wangoi Ngirishi. That's how it is.
So thank you very much. I believe Mount Kenya should be patient. Kalonzo has not said he wants to be the deputy, the running mate. The parties have come together. The agreement has already, east or west, my dear brother and a sister. This agreement signed yesterday by the Secretary General. Karanja, you see where it is. This agreement already locks you in. You get my point?
But Dr. There's something that Miriam said, and is a very good point.
Yes,
that
raise it.
That Uhuru Kenyatta being on the table and being the chaplain in the Azimio coalition, that the stakes of Mount Kenya people are well represented. I think that's a good point. But
personally, Karanja, hold the fire there and stay on the line. Personally, I feel if I were in Azimio gurus, I would give the two to go. And then give Mount Kenya the prime ministership.
By the two, you mean Kalonzo and Raila?
Yes.
Well, Raila, we know he's the presidential flag bearer, but Kalonzo.
The running
and I think he's earned it. Kalonzo has earned it.
Yes. No, Miriam, if I were, yeah. For me, I've said already, I can see some people have got annoyed with me. But I have said it. And when you get annoyed with Matanga, you don't go anywhere far. Kalonzo, now if you give Kalonzo the pecking order, there is a word Kalonzo used yesterday. Pecking order. For me, I am a political scientist. I only recognize words that mean to me. I don't go on collecting plants like Ruto. Ruto collects plants. I don't collect plants. I hold up the soul. Miriam, the word Kalonzo used, pecking order. Due to the pecking order, I had to forfeit my ambition. It's very clear. Raila Odinga is a Mandela man. It's one term. You run to be there. You don't run to go very far. So when it comes to even sitting down, the reality, if you talk about Mount Kenya, I know Karanja might come. You see, the good thing with Mount Kenya and the way they vote is they vote like a Baganda. Buganda and Shona and Ashanti. I have studied their voting pattern. If you are relying too much on Mount Kenya, Miriam, you could easily get a shocker. If you are relying much on Mount Kenya, you could get a shocker of your day. You know that? A very big shocker. Mount Kenya is like the Buganda. If you rely much on the Buganda, in Uganda politics, you get a shocker. Do you know the Karanjas have a tactic? If they want to punish Ruto, they will just stay home. Karanja, am I wrong?
You are very right. It is Ruto who needs Mount Kenya votes than Raila Amolo Odinga.
So we have to be very careful. Raila's vote across there is guaranteed. Raila needs only to fight for a portion. Let's be very honest. He needs to fight for a portion of this, of Mount Kenya. And the Mount Kenya people, most of them should not come with too much demands. Because even equally on this side of Ruto, they will have nothing. They will not have a say here. You cannot take there Ndindi Nyoro, who is used to brushing people's shoes, and you expect him to tell Ruto to give them anything for Mount Kenya. Tuambiane ukweli.
Ukweli.
Yes, that you will appoint Rigathi, whose mouthpiece is like a motor machine, that he has no reason to sit down, who already worships Ruto. When he sees Ruto, when he's greeting Ruto, he's greeting as if he wants to fall on the ground. What will he bring for you in Nyeri? Only cars and dust, a motorcade. You need to select somebody intellectual, with capability, persuasion, a man who can come and say balance. Kalonzo cuts most of Mount Kenya East. You see, Kalonzo catches the Kiriaiti Mirungis. You have seen how he picks up that way. He has people there. People look at his record. A quarter of Muranga is Kamba. Am I wrong?
You are right.
I've studied the politics, the voting partnership. If you go to Mombasa, you will find Kalonzo. The Kamba in the coast will come on board. We have to be careful. But the mountain can be brought back. The mountain can come back in prime ministership. I've told you the BBI, there is nowhere on earth where a judge who has gone to school can say the constitution has a basic structure that can never be touched. That judge, if they rule like that, they should be dismissed from the Supreme Court. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, very well.
So once the BBI comes out results, the whole thing will be bare, and even Ruto will be relieved, because at the moment, Ruto is caught as a prisoner. He doesn't know what to do with Musalia Mudavadi. And the Wetangula faction, headed by the Senator Malala, who is saying, if we are not doing the things right, where we left, we are not doing right. Here, we are not doing right. We rather go back to where we were. So you see, because in the western Kenya, the ground is shaky. Bungoma, it is heavy, because the border man, the man who bought the border man was
no,
not.
if you could,
Yes, go ahead.
just to add on what you're saying in Western Kenya, if we were to go by, I saw a quote by Kakamega Senator Malala, which could point to us that things might not be very well in where they thought that they will find some relief and perhaps better greener pastures there. Malala, if I can remember what this quote was about, he said that ANC and Musalia Mudavadi deserves the deputy president's position, and ANC is not going for anything less than that. So I don't know if ANC seems to now maybe want to bolt out, or they're staging up something that, a demand that they know they will not get and cannot be fulfilled in that coalition. And now perhaps they're just preparing grounds for them to have an excuse to leave, or I don't know what is happening. But I don't know how you would interpret that position that Malala is taking, that if Musalia Mudavadi is not given the deputy presidentship, the deputy president position in Kenya Kwanza, then ANC, is not going for anything less. As we all know, ANC cannot get that position right now, Musalia Mudavadi, and what will he be bargaining for? Because the last we checked, all the influential leaders that he used to have, even in his party in Western Kenya, have all, moved, and they've joined Azimio, coalition through other parties like the DAP Kenya and something like that. So he does not have the numbers, because when you do have the numbers, then you can stand and argue for your position and with support of the numerical, strength that you're bringing. But at this point, he lacks that, even in terms of representation in Parliament and in Senate. So under what ground is he claiming that he deserves to be given the deputy president's position? And is it something that is, possible under the Kenya Kwanza Alliance? I don't think that is something that will be happening. So are they preparing a ground for them to leave? For an excuse, they'll say, okay, fine, we came because we were promised this, and now we are not able to get this, so now let's bolt out, and I don't know, go back to Azimia. I don't know if that is something that they would consider. But it seems to be things are not well in the Azimio, in the Kenya Kwanza coalition, if you were to go with what Malala is talking about now and the issues he's raising.
Miriam, we are getting reports that Senator Wamatangi of Kiambu has actually arrived at Thika Stadium for the Kenya Kwanza rally. But for me, I knew Wamatangi was, because he's married to somebody who is related to Ruto. So I knew he was going to go there. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't want to waste time with Wamatangi. And I don't know why. Jubilee Party at times eat themselves. People use them and eat themselves. He has just arrived in the Kwanza rally in Thika. So I think we expect new changes also in Parliament or in the Senate, because now we cannot have him as a leader of the the minority whip, the whip in the Senate, is lost it. So, but you cannot. His wife is the current wife is a relative of Ruto. They come from Tarubo in Sungoi together. So Dorothy has done a very big pressure on Wamatangi. I don't know why those people who advise the president should check on some of these people before they recommend, some of them to go closer to President Uhuru Kenyatta, then turn around to betray him. But that's it. That's the life that it is. We have just had those reports. Miriam, for me, my bet, which I will tell you, my sister, and Karanja, you are present here, I would prefer Kalonzo Musyoka to run with Raila Odinga. There will be a good sympathy vote. Thank you.
Yeah, and I agree on that, Dr. David Matanga. And there's a great ticket. We have seen it in 2013 and 2017. But my worry is, if William Ruto now takes a running mate from Mount Kenya region, and the numbers that we have in the mountain, and I think what President Uhuru Kenyatta was doing when he was bringing all these Oka and Azimio together is to ensure that Raila Amolo Odinga wins with a good margin to avoid the similar scenarios like we had in 2017, where the number 2 was running to Supreme Court, was bringing all type of chaos in this country and wreaking havoc in all major streets of this country. I think if we can, the Azimio and all other key players and the judiciary, if they can bring back BBI, then a lot of things will be sorted. But if we all have all these big politicians in Mount Kenya region supporting William Ruto and William Ruto getting a running mate from the mountain, we might be staring to a kind of a similar scenario of what we had in 2017, a Kikuyu Kalenjin versus Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, because we need something that will encourage the Mount Kenya people to vote for Raila Odinga, and that can only be guaranteed if they see one of them in the arithmetic, and that will come to play if we have BBI on board. That will guarantee that the Prime Minister position will come to our region. But without that, it will be a tight race. It will be a too close two-horse race.
Okay. Miriam, any comment from you on this?
Yeah, maybe perhaps a question to Karanja, just going back with what I said earlier. If you're saying if Mount Kenya people don't see one of their own being represented on being the deputy president, that might be challenging in terms of the votes that Raila will get. But President Uhuru Kenyatta is the chaperone. He seems to be the one in charge of the Azimio la Umoja, coalition. Will that not inspire confidence? Because at the end of the day, it's interest. The reason why Kenyans vote the way we vote, because we're very ethnical, and the reason why we are like that is because we feel I don't like this government because my person is not there, so my interests are not represented. Unfortunately, that is just one of the key things Kenyans look at when it comes to how we vote and voting in our tribesmen and all that. So we are still deeply rooted in that. So in that case, President Uhuru Kenyatta being there, because he'll still be the leader of Jubilee Party, he'll still be very active in terms of giving direction, the Jubilee Party and his new position after, he's retired from being president. Will that not inspire confidence, seeing that he'll be the person in help of that coalition, as much as Raila Odinga will be the presidential flag bearer, but also he will actively be involved in this coalition? Will that not inspire confidence among the Mount Kenya voters, especially those who still support President Uhuru Kenyatta?
It will, to some extent, Miriam, and people are inspired. People like me and others, we are inspired that President Uhuru Kenyatta is on the board and our interests are well represented in Azimio coalition. But you can't compare with having our own as a running mate. We'll find that our interests are more represented when we have our own in office for the next 5 years as a deputy president, compared to having a retired president who will be influencing things from outside. And I think it is upon the Jubilee Party to ensure that they bring on board a key and influential politicians into different positions to ensure that we outshine UDA in Mount Kenya region and ensure that we have good numbers of members of parliament and the Senate. And I think that will go a long way in ensuring that our interests are well represented. But Miriam, on the same note, we are also comparing what our opponents are doing. This is William Ruto, and maybe with a Mount Kenya running mate. Don't you see that some people will feel like William Ruto, to some extent, is more concerned with Mount Kenya region than the Azimio coalition? But all said and done, Miriam, the point is, Raila Amolo Odinga just needs a fraction of Mount Kenya votes. And I think from where I sit, he already have a good fraction of votes from Mount Kenya region that will go to Azimio. Now the issue should be ensuring that the Azimio coalition gets more parliamentary seats and Senate seats so that we avoid a scenario like we had in 2017, where Raila Amolo Odinga was a prime minister but was controlling a big number of members of parliament in the National Assembly. I think that's something that those who are doing the strategy for Azimio should look into. But I agree with that. Kalonzo Raila ticket is a good one, but it will also depend, and that's why I pray that BBI will come on board on time so that we avoid a scenario where it will be a close presidential race where the winner will just win with maybe 52% and the second up position will maybe get 40-something%. And Miriam, that has been the problem in this country. If we can have the winner getting at least 60%, the second, the pan will go to opposition, will not go with pain, will not bring all these chaos that we see in this country. I think in Azimio, they should look at winning, but winning big, to avoid a scenario where this country will have a kind of event that we saw in 2007 and maybe in 2017.
Okay, very well.
So,
Go ahead, Doc.
Garanja, I want to assure you as you go back and think about the mathematics. I know people are saying we should bring people from, we have to be very careful. You have never seen Farah Malum, since he parted from Raila, ever come back to Raila. Yesterday you saw him in, who is the deputy chairman? The deputy chairman of Wiper Party. You have seen him on TV, Miriam, swearing that, even writing on social media that Ruto will beat Raila flat out. We have to be very careful that we don't. I have told you the strategy is very clear. I undersell this strategy. If you don't like it, keep to your heart. In the 2 weeks coming, BBI will be announced within 2 weeks. I am suspecting, because they can't also hold us ransom up to when. They should announce now so that preparations are made. You see? They should announce so that preparations are made. So if they don't announce and we start making preparations for the referendum or not, then that is wrong. But in 2 weeks' time, Miriam, the solution will come very clear. You know, all both parties are in Kwagamaya stage. Kwagamaya stage, kabisa. If you look at Mudavadi, the argument there, maybe Mudavadi, you know Mudavadi can take anything. You can even tell Mudavadi you become the watchman of Ruto. He will take it. He will take. But this side of ours, we have a problem. My problem is, if we don't give Kalonzo, we risk lots of things that will show that, this thing will never leave the mountain. Let UDA make a mistake of going to the mountain again. then the rest of Kenyans will be very angry and vote for. Do you know what the rest of Kenyans will do? They will now vote for a candidate who has been consistent with nationalism. Mount Kenya will not lose much. Uhuru Kenyatta's party, if it wins some seats, it will remain in the Azimio. In fact, what Uhuru Kenyatta is doing is Mwalimu Julius Nyerere's strategy. You go back, you leave the leadership to everybody, but you go back and unite your party and play politics through the delegates conference and the party structures. Are you there with me? Because after this, the money will be given out to parties. So you strengthen your party home and you have regulations that you want in parliament to pass. I don't know whether you, Karanja, have seen what the strategy is. The bigger strategy is that you are looking at a smaller strategy. But also, there are people in the mountain who vote because Uhuru Kenyatta, the son of Uhuru, are on ballot. Did you know that? They vote because the son of Uhuru, of Jomo Kenyatta, is on ballot. And if the son of Jomo Kenyatta tells them, I'm not on ballot, but I want you to vote for so and so, they will vote. And let this man gamble this way. If Ruto gets in the mountain, we shall sweep him in the west. That one, Raila will take it clean the following morning. Because the Westerners, where Mudavadi is and Wetangula, would not like to vote for Rigathi. Did you know that? They will not vote for Rigathi. Did you know that, Javan? They will not vote for a man from these Uluyas. They will not. Olaya Mungu jaribu. Even now, if Raila brings somebody from here, you will lose the Western to this Jambas man. So let's go and think seriously. That's all I can say. It is top of the hour. Thank you very much.
But Doc,
yes.
Doc, in 2002, things were different. We all voted for President Kibaki. So I think that was different compared to what we have right now. But also, speaking of BBI, before we move
no, Medium, you are right. You are right. It wasn't different. No.
The scenario now is different from
you see,
2002.
other parties, it is, yeah, you are right. There's a different, there was a candidate from Central.
Kibaki, and then the vice president was Kijana Wamalwa.
Yes, and you can see exactly. The voting was very smooth.
We all voted for Kibaki because we wanted change. And you brought up the issue of the BBI, because right now as it is, obviously, even if the court rules in favor of the BBI, we can't have the referendum, because according to the law, a referendum should be held a year before the general election. So that is not doable right now.
It is
so
not
maybe that
it is not doable, Miriam, but let me help you here. It helps the candidates to choose.
Okay.
If the BBI comes back and says all the 7 judges have agreed that what the Supreme Court did was wrong, or 5 judges against 2 or 6 against 1, the Azimio side of Uhuru and Raila win. And it will help Ruto. They will win, because now they can sit in Azimio with 26 political parties. And they say now, you see, this is what we wanted. And tell Kenyans, for us, we went for BBI, we won. Now we want to make a government of national unity with a prime minister, deputy prime minister, and so on. Ruto won't say that. People will laugh at him. Have you seen where the boost is going to come from? That's where the boost is coming from. For Azimio. And the Garanja marked that. That is a boost 100% for Azimio. Walaya Mungu. It cannot be done now. You can't do it. I agree with you, Miriam. But it is a boost for Raila Amolo Odinga. For him to now stand as the presidential candidate and say, this post of deputy will go to Gideon Moi. This prime ministership will go to Kalonzo. Or this prime ministership will go to Peter Kenneth. Or Munya. Or Faramalum. Or Joho. Or Oparanya. Umeona? This speakership we are now going to distribute so that each part of the country can feel power. That's it. It boosts the campaign strategy of Azimio.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Are we together?
Okay. But there's no telling, assuming it wins, there's no telling how fast that will be implemented, how fast we will go to
no, as soon as they win, as soon as they win elections, medium.
Okay.
They will start, they can call a referendum. The first thing that Raila Amolo Odinga would do as a president is call a referendum within 6 months.
And please, Doc, help me understand, because we saw when we went to the referendum for the 2010 constitution, those changes were not implemented until the next government came into power, until President Uhuru Kenyatta, began his first. Will this be implemented immediately? What does the law say about that?
You can implement stage by stage, development gap by gap. You put a gap measure, or you can gap implementation, or you can implement immediately. It will depend on the question.
Oh, okay.
The question will decide now or later. So they will implement. The new government will have powers to say, we want to change the format of government. And we want to change it within 60 days. So can we collect signatures now?
Okay.
Yes. And they keep, and the motion comes in the same way. Because now, even the president, if it goes in favor, Raila can propose. Because there is nothing wrong for a president to say we can also. But I'm telling you, all these things hinges on BBI. You are going to see, once the BBI is over, once the BBI is announced, medium, believe me or not, you won't have any hiccup. Everybody, even in Karanja, will be quiet. Because the message they will be selling in that place is different. Thank you. Unless we have anything wrong, now we just move on by saying yesterday, 12 Saturday 2022, a new volcano erupted in Kenya. A new foundation, a seed, the mustard seed of unity of purpose, Azimio, was born in Kenya. I am a happy man, and I can go home and rest. Thank you. It will be done. Coming up next is Africa. Let's take a brief water and then wait for Africa. We are going to look at South Sudan. I will do the summary, and Miriam can do what, ask the questions you want. Can the peace hold? What is going on in South Sudan? Yes. Which way South Sudan? Elections looming as soon as 2022. Can they hold the elections really? Can we take the winner take all again in South Sudan where the people are not even united? Have we accounted for the people? Let's come and see what takes place next. Thank you.
Since the war broke out in South Sudan in 2013, a lot of experiments or peace process have been brought in place. The first experiment collapsed with the two armies going at each other. The peace process died. The second peace process came. We managed to go to get what we have got right now. There is a peace process, a semblance of peace holding. How long it will hold, we just don't know. But it's upon the people of South Sudan and the international community to help the people of Sudan to pump in resources needed to sustain the peace process, which is so fragile that it could actually break. And once it breaks, it makes matters worse for the region. South Sudan remains a sick child of Africa. A sick child in the sense that senseless killings have taken place. Over 380,000 people are not traceable. Accountability has been overshadowed by political machinations. How long can this take on? How long can this stay? How long can this happen? And how shall we control it? How do we bring it to a conclusion? A peaceful, stable South Sudan. My proposals range from funding the government to sustain the projects of peace process that we agreed, changing the peace model by bringing the UN special envoy in the region, fully equipped, logistically equipped, supplied, mandated to keep law and order and have sustained the peace process, the ceasefires that are there. If that can be done, South Sudan will be stable. If that stability does not come, then it is up to the world to decide another method beyond what they have done so far. And that method is accountability through the courts that will deter any further occurrences of a war. Thank you.
Welcome back to our show, the Africa Showdown. This is the second part of our show, which I have brought, which I want to discuss quite a lot of things regarding South Sudan. South Sudan is a new member of the African Union. It got independence in 2005, 6, I don't know, or 2010. I think so, yes. South Sudan, as a country, has suffered. A war broke out after independence. Two factions came out on tribal ethnicity, the Dinka versus the Nu. A humanitarian catastrophe has occurred in South Sudan. For all these years, the world has tried to bring peace. Religious leaders, international political statesmen have tried to tell the warring parties to come home and make a united kingdom. This has not happened. Refugees still continue to be in camps in neighboring countries in Uganda and Kenya. And inside, the situation doesn't seem to be improving. On a daily basis, South Sudan suffers new rebel groups come in formation. They form. There's another new rebel group called National Salvation Army. And that has created a lot of difficulties for us as people who learn, who want to sit to try and write the history of Africa. What can be done in South Sudan to create harmony, peace, tranquility for the region? Have we forgotten the fundamentals of ending wars? Is there something wrong that was done that cannot bring peace in this region? Joining me on this topic is none other than Miriam Ogutu. Good afternoon, Miriam, from your political command center today. How are you?
I'm doing well, Doc. Good afternoon to our viewers.
Just punch us. And joining us also is Javani Karanja. Javani Karanja, good afternoon.
We seem to have lost him. I think he's having a bit of a challenge with his connection.
Challenge with connection from Nanyuki. Go ahead, Miriam. That's the background we have. Is there something that we can do which we did not do right to create a better understanding, smooth South Sudan?
And and I think that is a conversation, Doc, we've had here time and time again, and just something that you said before, and perhaps I should reiterate that, is that even the peace deal, even these talks, they were anchored in a very flawed, foundation. So if the foundation is not right, if the intentions in that foundation is not right, if the motives that is bringing these leaders and the things they want to address is not right, then there's no way you can move on hoping to get different results if the foundation, is not trying. So coming in South Sudan after getting their independence, and then 2 years later plunging into a conflict, the talks that has been taking place and the mediation and all that, these things were not anchored on the right foundation, and that will be something that concerns the people of South Sudan and the country of South Sudan. Instead, what we see is just people who have a lot of ego and people who are very selfish, and all they think about is, what will I get? What will my camp get? What will my what will I get out of this? Not what will the people of South Sudan get out of this? What will be best for the people of Sudan out of this? And on top of that, we have people dying even today. People have been dying, and we have people dying even today. And there don't seem to be a structure of accountability. People think they can just do whatever they want and get away with it. So I think accountability is a bigger factor that has led to South Sudan where it is today.
So the biggest problem, as you agree with me, we have done it on this. Accountability remains the biggest factor that has affected the peace process in South Sudan. And this has caused quite a lot of Anatolian suffering. You can imagine there are people in South Sudan in February 2020, South Sudan, two main rebel groups united, came down and a banner and laid down, claiming to lay down their hands in pursuing peace. But this peace has never been filtered. It has not filtered to the villages. It has not gone down to the people. The women still suffer in the camps. The rape, the torture, the hunger, the weather, the killings, the slaughter of human beings, the defections from one camp to the other still continues. What can Africa do? Is there anything that you think, Miriam, between us, God, and the rest? Pope Paul has prayed for these people, kissed their feet. The Pope kissed the feet of Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. The Pope is coming to South Sudan in July. Is that the only last hope left, maybe? Is there no chance that people can look back and say, what have we done wrong? What is this? Was the peace process wrongly framed? Why can't we frame a better peace process that will finish forever? Bring peace in South Sudan. What is it remain discussing and continue discussing unless Miriam has something on top of it. I don't think we should cry more than that. We have cried.
Maybe perhaps just to add on what you just said, yes, after Pope kissed their feet, I thought, this will be the magic something that will perhaps, work in the conscience of these leaders and try to do the right thing. But unfortunately, and very unfortunately, nothing much has changed even after that, and several other mediation, efforts have been made to bring peace in South Sudan. But perhaps I'll go back to the words of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember when we had our annual national prayers, where South Sudanese president was the chief guest to that prayer, our national prayer, and President Uhuru Kenyatta said something that was very profound, and I think still remains true to today, that we can help, the rest of the world can come in, and we know Kenya has done its best, and other countries and other stakeholders. But unless the people of South Sudan, of course, want peace, but unless the leadership of South Sudan, which I think is the one holding the country at ransom, until they want peace for themselves and they work towards finding a lasting peace, the rest of the efforts will remain futile. It has to come from them. So us is just to support that. But they don't seem to want that peace because the chaos is working very well for them.
Yeah, the chaos is working very well for them, Miriam. Indeed, the chaos is working because they are beneficiaries in the states surrounding South Sudan. There are countries in the South Sudan, neighbors of South Sudan, who are paying the price, who are getting the fruits, matunda ya uhuru kutoka South Sudan. The United Nations report said it. It brought it back out on the surface. Why haven't we taken steps to implement the report? Why are people even just watching a situation grow from worse, from bad to worse, and worse to worst? Are there people who don't wish South Sudan peace? Is there a problem? When we wanted South Sudan to join East African Community, there was a lot of resistance, Miriam. To the extent that Bashir paid several people in Kenya, the usual man in Kenya, you know him, to pull back so that South Sudan should not be included in East African Community. Ruto was playing some bad politics around there. By then, he was in very good books with the president, and they played a very bad, very dirty politics. Until some of us stood firm and said, hello, yeah, hey, this thing is going to cause a problem. So, there you are, you have made a point very clear that until the leaders themselves come to realize that South Sudan is their country, there's nothing we can do as outsiders. We have done our best. I'm a friend of both the gentlemen, especially Riek Machar was my friend. I hope he's still my friend today, because some of the things, when I hear them, I pick up a phone and I call him. Later on, he answers. He says, but he can't, his hands are tied. Riek Machar, since he went there, he has never traveled out. He has never been allowed to travel out. I don't know whether it is also one of the conditions that they had. So, I don't know. Thank you very much, viewers on Africa. This week, we had South Sudan and their teas. What can we do to bring peace to our nation? A nation, the youngest nation of Africa. Will there be peace? When will this peace come? Thank you. Coming up next, let's move on, Miriam, to the world politics. The question of Ukraine is what is. But Miriam, before I go there, do you realize that now COVID-19 is over? And, we no longer have briefings from World Health Organization. We only have briefings about Ukraine. The international media has taken Ukraine. COVID has been replaced with Ukraine, as if there are no people dying of COVID. Did you realize that?
Yeah, or maybe, you know, the World Health Organization and even the rest of the countries across the world, we just having a fatigue right now. This is something that we've had for over 2 years. So I think people are saying, you know what, it is going to be here with us. So we better find ways of dealing with it, the way we are dealing with normal flu, malaria, and things like that. So I think also because a lot of countries have vaccinated and things like that, but I think the World Health Organization still is required to be giving us regular updates wherever necessary, because I think it's very important they do so. And yes, of course, Ukraine, what is happening there is very serious, but we should also not forget other things that are important. And I was walking, I was out of Nairobi, yesterday, and I saw the number of people walking around without masks, but there are also people like me who are still holding on to our masks. I don't know, it's because I still have a huge stock in my house I bought. I need to finish, or I'm just very paranoid. I'm still wearing my mask when I'm out there. So maybe it will take a while before I get used to not walking around with masks.
Thank you very much, Miriam. How do you see here? I'm one of those still with this mask. I will hold it. It has taught me that I should have it all the time. So have your mask on. Even if you have been vaccinated several times with booster, still have your mask on. Because there are people who still believe that COVID was not real.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we know that the government of Kenya has lifted the restriction of a mask requirement. But I know even where I was yesterday, when I was coming back, we were told anybody entering this place, you must have your mask on. And for those who didn't have, they were provided for. I think it's important.
Well, have your mask on, keep your life, because you don't die with two people. You die alone. The question of Ukraine, therefore, Miriam, stands taking over world politics, engages world politics. Why Africa is on its own? I've taken 3 examples. One, Somalia. The people dying in Somalia are equivalent to the people dying in Ukraine. Why hasn't the world worked so hard to get us, the terrorists outside, killed, removed, and our country, Somalia, returns to normal? The people dying in Libya are human beings. Why has the world been slow, but it is very quick? Is it because the war is taking place in Europe and not in Africa? The people in Central African Republic who have died in hundreds and hundreds, thousands. Why? The world has left Africa to stand on its throne. The people in Ethiopia, Tigray, the world left us stand on our own. But we talk about Ukraine. Why? Are we second-class citizens in our own world? Are we really equal with the people dying in Ukraine? Not that we want people to die, but are we not having the same blood like that of Ukraine? Why has Africa been left on its own? Miriam.
Indeed, a very important question there, Doctor. You've posed, and you've seen how this has played out and the amount of support is getting, especially from other Western countries, which is, understandable. And that is because when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, it's a different ballgame, because a lot of European countries and the countries in the West are united against one common enemy, which is Russia. The country is not even in the European Union because of whatever reason they have there, and whatever conflict they have, and the interest that they have in Ukraine, and what that means to their countries if that is messed up with. But when it comes to Africa, we have wars that have that have been there for a long time, and people have been dying in this continent. But in, like the country like Central African Republic, Ethiopia, we've seen Somalia, and we've seen the double standards that has played when it comes to how the outside world, comes in and gets involved in these conflicts. And it's because either one of them is the one instigating these wars here, and they're very much aware, and they know if they come in, they'll be speaking against one of them there in the Western world, and also maybe because their interests are not threatened in this country. So this thing of human rights and all that, it becomes very interesting how they decide how to apply when they think which human interest is more important compared to the other human interest, which I think is really unfortunate. People are dying. Genocide is taking place. There's still deaths in Ethiopia.
Yeah, you are right. Are we humans?
Yeah. So this issue of human rights, when does it apply? When does the human rights is important? Is it when it's happening in Africa or when it's happening in Ukraine? Or this should be just a standard thing. When you're seeing that human rights are being threatened somewhere and people are dying and being maimed, then you should give the same support and the same audience to the matters, regardless of where it is. We've seen people dying in Afghanistan. We've seen people dying in Yemen. We've seen people dying in Syria. They got tired of it. They stopped even, talking about it. And I do understand, whatever is happening in Ukraine, but also that has really showed us that truly we are by ourselves.
We are on our own.
Yeah, we are on our own. Yes.
Yeah, finalize
Absolutely.
your point. Yes.
I'm done. We are on our own.
We are on our own. I'm also done. We are on our own as Africans. But one thing that makes me not comfortable, and let me try to stand up and talk about this, because we are on our own. I hope the people will change the cameras. We are on our own. The Africa that we want, I think when we are finishing this show, most of the time, I want the camera to stand and see me. We are on our own as us Africans. And that's how I want us to be finishing our shows. Is Africa on its own? Yes, we seem to be on our own. We seem to be part and a parcel of a state. If the camera is viewing me, then I can make my points. We are on our own, Miriam. Thank you very much, viewers across the continent of Africa and the globe. We have come to the end of our show this afternoon. We are on our own. Africa is on its own. When it comes to people talking about Africa, when it comes to people talking about Ukraine, we are not included in the timetable. But we are quick at making resolutions, Miriam. We make resolutions to the world. We support the world. We supported the bombardment of Libya. We support everything about South Sudan, Somalia, but nobody helps us. There are conflicts on the continent of Africa. Not that we support the killings, the dying of the people in Ukraine. No, but there are conflicts in Africa. And those conflicts in Africa need to be resolved. Are we on our own? Amazonia bleeds. Biafra, Libya, Tigray, Somalia, Mogadishu, Mozambique, Democratic Republic of Congo, they bleed. Are we on our own? Thank you very much, viewers across the continent of Africa, in the globe, in America. This station, therefore, Miriam, I thank you very much for having the hope tomorrow morning. We see you. Are we on our own? My sister, are we on our own? That's the question. I would go with it. Any closing remarks, please, on your side?
I think I'll just answer it in one simple sentence. Yes, we are very much so on our own. And so we should think about that and see how, we can look out for ourselves moving forward in the future.
Yes. Thank you very much, viewers across. We are on our own on the continent of Africa. We have to stand on our own. We have to resolve our problems on our own. If we don't, it's God only for us. The rest of the world left us a long time ago. But they use us to make resolutions, to stamp resolutions, to stamp sanctions against countries that have neglected us. Are we second-class citizens? Thank you very much. This station is for Africa. This show is for Africa, by Africa, brought by Africa to the world. See you tomorrow at 10 o'clock with Good Morning Africa with Miriam Ogutu and myself and others. Keep on Azimio la Umoja. Asante.